Aberlemno III is an early Christian monument dating from the mid-9th century. The stone fell during a storm in early March of this year. We had a response team on site within 24 hours assessing what the damage was and what needed to happen next. There was then discussion between the various directorates within the organisation, and three-dimensional scanning was one of the first things to take place, so that we had an understanding of the kind of spatial context of the stone, as well as the local MCU, which are masonry conservation units that look after the monuments in their area, and they were able to kind of apply protection to the stone to make sure it was secure in the interim. So the three-dimensional scanning proved very useful. We were able to kind of interrogate that and look at how best to kind of create supports to get underneath the stone. Eventually it was lifted from the site by a crane in the back of a fairly large-scale lorry. The stone has been understood to be under threat for some time. There are records going back to the 1890s which kind of recognise some of its vulnerabilities. Some of the contributing factors that we can see now that we have the stone in is some water boundaries that we see within the stone, which signify how much movement there's been with water from the surface into the stone. There's also areas on the surface which have become detached from the underside of the stone, so they actually sound hollow. So we do an acoustic survey of the surface, tapping on the surface with kind of tools to try and ascertain which areas are sound and which areas will require further consolidation. Understanding of the stone historically seems to go back to about the 1890s. We have kind of records that my colleague Stefan has discovered in the National Records of Scotland, which look at some of its earliest conservation and preservation by our predecessors, who are kind of looking at very similar kind of aspects that we are now. So it's been a very long ongoing process, with the understanding that the stone was at risk for a long period of time. Just prior to the First World War, there was quite a movement to record the stone. There was talk of lifting it. There's quite advanced drawings showing kind of structural supports for it, and indeed in one case even a shelter. But unfortunately, all these kind of terminated very quickly as the Great War started. We've started to look at biological removal from the surface, which we use a steam cleaner for. That kind of swells up the vegetation and then enables it to kind of be expunged from the surface. We need to carry out some consolidation of this face before we can turn it over, and even carry out a condition check of the other side. So there will need to be consolidation first. We also need to remove the remaining biological growth. Some of the larger scale repairs and treatments involve both the reattachment of the upper section, which unfortunately was a large triangular part of the monument which was knocked off along a pre-existing crack. We have kind of records of it on our 3D scans from prior to the fall. Looking at what the other side has to show us as well, we don't know what's there, but we suspect from previous conservation surveys of the stone that this side is the one that's most affected by kind of vulnerabilities. When the stone fell, it plucked a portion of the hitherto unseen fragment from the collar stone beneath. This has actually shown us some fresh carving, which has been protected by the centuries within the collar stone. And excitingly, there may well be a little bit more within that, which we hope to excavate at some point. So we can see from the detail of this, it's actually very similar in some cases to some of the fretwork on the main panel of the stone. When we look at the condition of it, we can probably safely say that it's probably only been exposed for maybe 100, 150 years. So this kind of puts in context the fact that the stone has fallen recently, sadly, but it has also fallen historically, and really quite soon after it was originally sited. It's very exciting to kind of see some of these kind of new details that are essentially unrecorded, and we hope to see more. It's a a fascinating monument to work on, very significant art historically, and really a privilege to kind of work with.